Good morning, dear friends. Thank you all for joining us for this very special 211 day. My name is Yolanda Valencia, and I am a proud board member of Jewish Community Services of South Florida, and I'm delighted to serve as event chair for JCS 211 Day. We imagined we would be in person today after a challenging 2 years of the pandemic to celebrate JCS 211 Day. February 11th is a national day of recognition to shine a light on the incredible, life-saving, and confidential resource that residents in Miami and Monroe can turn to when they are in need. JCS 211 Miami is a program of Jewish Community Services and is available 24/7, 365 to provide emotional support, crisis counseling, and information and referral services. The times we are living in are truly historic. We have faced multiple crises as a community between the COVID-19 pandemic, followed by the tragic collapse of the Champlain Towers South in Surfside. After an extraordinary and unprecedented 2 years, today, Jewish Community Services of South Florida is proud to recognize the unsung heroes and heroines and to celebrate the members of our community who showed up each and every day in response to the needs of those facing health and emotional trauma, our JCS community champions, and our 211 Miami staff. These individuals have been instrumental in providing essential life-sustaining support and compassion during these two monumental crises, with selfless dedication and commitment to the well-being of others. Both the COVID-19 and Surfside tragedy responses demanded our JCS community champions and 211 Miami staff to act swiftly through endless hours and days in the face of catastrophic tragedies involving saving of lives by providing a strong and resilient safety net of health and human services with a strong dose of compassion. These individuals have exemplified the very best in humanity and promoted our value of healing the world around us, tikkun olam, and acts of loving kindness.
Thank you, Yolanda. Good morning to everyone, and thank you to the Jewish Community Services of South Florida for hosting this event and taking the time to recognize courage through crisis within our community. I'm Daniela Levine-Cava, your Miami-Dade County Mayor and our county's first Jewish mayor. The JCS is one of our most active and enthusiastic providers of community services to folks across our county, and most especially in difficult moments. It is organizations like the JCS that make the difference in forging a healthier and safer community. In particular, I want to recognize the invaluable efforts of the JCS's 211 Miami team, which provides emotional support and crisis counseling to anyone across our county and available around the clock in English, Spanish, and Creole. In the aftermath of the Surfside tragedy, so many found solace and support through calling in. This support is necessary because of just how emotionally fraught this moment was, but I don't have to tell you that. In Surfside and across our South Florida Jewish community, many of us had friends, family members, and people we knew who were senselessly taken from us. I know that the months since have allowed for the process of healing to begin. We all remember waking up and hearing the tragic news in the early morning on the 24th of June. I remember rushing to the scene and taking stock of where we were, what we could do, and what was going on. But through all the uncertainty, our first responders did not hesitate for 1 second in doing everything they could to save a life. Today we recognize one of these leaders in Miami-Dade Fire Rescue's own Chief Ray Jadala. Chief Jadala was on the scene around the clock, leading our emergency response and coordinating our collaborative efforts to secure the site and conduct search and rescue operations. He also led all our meetings with the families of the victims with endless grace and compassion, making sure we kept our promise of keeping families and survivors fully informed. Whether it was in the outpouring of support from individuals, organizations, and governments from around the world, or whether it was the selflessness of those right here in Surfside to open their homes and their hearts to neighbors seeking assistance, we witnessed the best of our community. And it is so important to loudly appreciate those who brought us together. To Ray and to the many other selfless community members and JCS partners that we recognize today, I hope you know that your community is better because of your efforts and your leadership. Because in Miami-Dade, we are not a community of individuals. Rather, we know that we are better when we come together and help each other. We recognize that overcoming the Surfside collapse and the pandemic cannot be done by ourselves, but that we can only truly recover through a whole of community approach. Thank you to those recognized today, the Jewish Community Services of South Florida, and innumerable others for creating and strengthening our community each and every day. With that, I'd like to introduce my dear friend, Jewish Community Services of South Florida's President and CEO, Miriam Singer.
Thank you so much, Mayor Levine-Cava, for your beautiful words and for always supporting our JCS team. Good morning, esteemed members of our community. It is truly an honor and privilege to serve as President and CEO of Jewish Community Services of South Florida. We have all faced many trials and tribulations throughout these last 2 years, but if we have learned anything, it is that we are resilient. We have seen extraordinary bravery, kindness, courage, and compassion during some of the most challenging and unprecedented times in our generation. Before we begin, I would like to recognize and offer special thanks to our generous event sponsors and partners of JCS 211 Miami. Miami-Dade County's Seaport Department, Brightline, the Miami Foundation, the Children's Trust, United Way, Thriving Minds, and Miami-Dade County. Today it is my privilege to recognize and thank our JCS 211 Miami staff and JCS champions. I am delighted to share more about each JCS community champion and their contributions that make them most deserving of this honor. Mobolaji Adesina. Mobolaji Adesina is the Associate Nurse Manager of South Wing 7 at Jackson Memorial Hospital. Her unit, which is typically a med-surg unit for adult patients, was converted to a specialized COVID-19 unit in March 2020 at the very start of the pandemic. Over the last 21 months, she has led her team through stressful, uncertain times, always focusing on their individual needs. She talked with her team, listened intently, made them feel understood and supported. She oftentimes took a very deep breath and prayed so that she would always have a positive image in the eyes of her team and of her clients. She represents the very best in frontline healthcare providers within our community. She is recognized for her professionalism, endurance, resilience, and for taking on risks to ensure the health and well-being of thousands of members of our community that required hospitalization over the last 2 years. We are incredibly inspired by her commitment and selfless dedication to community.
Hi, my name is Mobolaji Adeshina. People call me BJ. I'm a leader on South Wing 7. I work on a COVID unit on South Wing 7 in Jackson Memorial Hospital. It's a great hospital to work, and it's also a great unit to work as well because of the team that I work with. I want to take this moment to say thank you to Jewish Community Services of South Florida for giving me this award. And I want to say this award is for my team on a COVID unit and for the hospital in Jackson Memorial Hospital for giving us the resources and the support we need and during the pandemic, and to do the best that we can and to be the best that we can and providing care for the community. Thank you.
Joseph Dahan. When the Champlain Tower South building collapsed, Joseph and his team at Hatzalah of South Florida immediately arrived on site in Surfside and partnered with other caring community organizations to assist victims and families. Hatzalah of South Florida worked day in and day out, countless hours and days for weeks on end to provide emergency medical response and care and to ease the suffering of those directly impacted during and after recovery efforts. Directly after the collapse, the organization triaged victims and provided medical care to family members waiting to hear whether their loved ones had survived. In collaboration with the Shoal of Bal Harbor and representatives of ECS, Hatzalah of South Florida helped raise over $1 million to provide economic support to those that were impacted by the senseless tragedy.
It is a true honor to be receiving this recognition from Jewish Community Services on behalf of all of the volunteer members of Hatzalah South Florida who served for 3 grueling weeks at Surfside Ground Zero. I cannot be more proud of our volunteers who provided around-the-clock service at Surfside for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 3 consecutive weeks. The recognition we're being given today belongs to all of our volunteers, responders collectively. I'm sure that our volunteers are very appreciative and flattered at this acknowledgement. I also believe that it will give us even more reason to continue to do what we do in our life-saving mission. On behalf of the entire Hatzalah South Florida family, we graciously thank you.
Ray Jadala. Chief Ray Jadala is the Assistant Fire Chief of Miami-Dade Fire Rescue and was an integral part of the communication and news sharing efforts during the aftermath of the tragic Champlain Towers collapse. He had the extraordinarily difficult job of communicating findings from the search and rescue as well as recovery efforts with Champlain Towers families as the days unfolded. Twice a day, the chief offered heart-wrenching, detailed accounts of what his team was doing on the field and what they were discovering at the site of the building collapse. Additionally, Chief Jadala led his team with expertise and exemplary bravery throughout the search efforts. Search and recovery is an extremely dangerous job. With rain, water damage, and rubble, some of the challenges faced by the team were very, very trying. He ensured his team's safety and their support mentally and physically as they address the human tragedy of the discoveries. His work is worthy of commendation and reflects the strength of his character and the endless compassion with which he leads.
Hello, Ray Jadala, Deputy Fire Chief with Miami-Dade Fire Rescue. I was the agency representative for Miami-Dade Fire Rescue during the Surfside building collapse and the family liaison point of contact. I would like to thank Miriam Singer for nomination for the JCS Service Award. This is an honor, not just for myself, but for my entire family. In addition, I'd like to thank all the members of Miami-Dade Fire Rescue who were instrumental with me receiving this award. Thank you to Ms. Singer and to JCS.
Debbie Koch. Debbie is the Executive Director of the American Red Cross of Greater Miami and the Keys. Upon the collapse of the Champlain Towers South building, Debbie and her team of local and state American Red Cross professionals and federal agencies were on the ground each and every day, providing financial support, temporary housing resources, and advocacy to those who suffered losses. Debbie's leadership resulted in the creation of an immediate response and safety net for survivors, while she effectively coordinated with a myriad of government agencies and JCS to build a service network for individuals and families experiencing trauma. Debbie ensured that the families were provided emergency lodging, helped create an emergency assistance center, and to ensure that information was flowing to those in need. Her leadership, perseverance, expertise, and resilience are recognized today, as well as her sensitivity and professionalism in assisting the survivors to settle and figure out next steps in the days and weeks following June 24th.
Hi, I'm Debbie Koch, Executive Director of the American Red Cross for Greater Miami and the Keys. I had the privilege of working with the Jewish Community Services team during the Surfside building collapse. Throughout that tragedy, we worked tirelessly together to make sure that the survivors and the families who were missing loved ones were well taken care of and had all of the services that the community had to offer. I am truly honored to be named a JCS Community Champion. Thank you so much to the board and to the team for considering me. Thank you.
Joelle Laluz. Joelle was at the Shoal Bell Harbor when the Champlain Towers collapsed. She was a Special Projects and Initiative staff member from the Shoal. She provided a lifeline and point of contact for families around the world who sought answers, information, and the ability to learn the fate of their loved ones who resided in the Champlain Towers South. Joelle was a one-woman bridge for information. She immediately sprang into action by implementing a log and recorded identifying information so that she might connect individuals around the world with what was going on. Joelle's log helped the IDF identify missing individuals. She provided names to Commander Vash and his team and was instrumental in linking families to one another. She has worked around the clock for weeks on end to provide comfort, information, a shoulder to lean on, and many times to cry on, while relatives awaited word. Joelle, rabbis and rebbets in Lipsker, and the Shoal's clergy, volunteers, and supporters made it possible for so many souls suffering from the pain of the unknown and loss to find comfort amid the chaos. She is especially proud to see our diverse community having come together, regardless of religion or background, in order to support the survivors. Joelle, thank you for holding our community so close to your heart. You are a genuine Gitta Neshama, a good soul.
Hi, I'm Joelle Laluz. I work at the Shul. I started working here about a month before the Champlain Towers collapse. We received literally hundreds of phone calls that morning from concerned friends and family across the globe. And so I started keeping a log of their names, their relations to people that were missing, and the people that were missing, getting all their information, their names, their ages, if they had pets, what apartment number they were in. And I want to thank Miriam Singer and JCS. I am humbled and honored for this recognition. Really, it was humbling and beautiful to see a community gather together, roll up their sleeves, and do what had to be done. So thank you.
Carlos Migoya. When the COVID-19 pandemic struck the U.S., Miami became one of the nation's epicenters. Carlos Migoya and his team at Jackson Hospital quickly transitioned to become experts, go-to experts in care, research, and community health services. They engaged with partners throughout the community, transitioned to care for all affected with the utmost compassion and dignity. Because of Jackson's heroes, nearly 10,000 people hospitalized at Jackson with COVID were able to return to their homes and families, and 177,000 residents were vaccinated. As the Omicron variant continues to run through our community, Carlos has led with grace and with all the confidence within our community as the representative for our public hospital system with love and grace. Carlos, your impactful contributions and passion for service are a healing force for all.
Hi, I'm Carlos Migoya, CEO of Jackson Health System. I am honored and grateful to be named a community champion by Jewish Community Services of South Florida. But let me be clear, I accept this award not for myself, but for every one of Jackson's 13,500 employees who have spent the last 2 years battling COVID-19 head-on. Because of them, nearly 10,000 people hospitalized at Jackson with COVID were discharged home to their families. Because of them, more than 170,000 people in our community were vaccinated at Jackson sites. Our doctors, nurses, therapists, techs, environmental workers, hospital administrators, and support teams are the reason that Jackson has shined brightly for nearly 104 years. And they're the reason why, even during the darkest days, Miami-Dade County residents can count on Jackson Health System to provide them with the best health care. Thank you.
Golan Vash. Commander Vash of the Israel Defense Forces collaborated with Miami-Dade Fire Rescue urban search and rescue teams throughout the search and recovery efforts in the aftermath of the Champlain Tower South collapse. He led 3 Israeli teams with significant experience in disaster response and with state-of-the-art training and equipment to complement the arduous work of our local teams. Commander Vash integrated with the local team seamlessly, and his experience with challenging search missions around the world provided a high level of confidence to the affected community that every possible measure was taken in carrying out the search and rescue and recovery missions. He led with grace, skill, confidence, and bravery. His leadership and collaboration with local and other rescue organizations helped bring closure to so many families that were impacted.
Shalom. My name is Colonel Golan Vach. I'm the commander of the IDF's National Rescue Team. We arrived to the Surfside 72 hours after the incident, 10 experts from the IDF. My role was to build and formulate with the teams on the ground and with the support of the technology teams from Israel an operational plan that would indicate the location of the trapped, and then to harness and to persuade the excellent American commanders to adopt it. The activity in this task was one of the most difficult I have ever experienced. The number of casualties, the environmental conditions, heat, humidity, hurricanes, lightning. But what gave me the energy to keep operating is the deep understanding that we are part of the families, and they are expecting us nothing but everything we have to offer. All our energy, all our strength, all our abilities. The second one was the constant recognition that we are part of the IDF, part of the State of Israel, and I want to convey to all the families and to JCS and to the wonderful community that has supported the families along the way that we are part of you, we always will be, and you have a place in Israel and in our hearts. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom.
Stephanie Villegas, who as the Director of Community Security for the Greater Miami Jewish Federation is responsible for advising all local Jewish agencies and schools on matters of safety and security, is recognized today Her vast experience as a former FBI agent and her extensive community networks allowed for an effective and immediate response for law enforcement coordination and integration to the IDF and Hatzalah teams. Her knowledge and effective law enforcement skills helped strengthen our ability to respond as a community. Stephanie served as a key liaison between our local and broader community and was proud to see our response and togetherness during a time of great pain and suffering. She has also served as a valuable resource and sounding board for JCS, our professional team, and our clients' safety. She has worked day in and day out in order to maximize security efforts, both in response to the Surfside event as well as in the aftermath. Thank you for all you do, Stephanie. We appreciate your leadership and your great skill.
Good morning. My name is Stephanie Villegas. I'm the Director of Community Security for the Greater Miami Jewish Federation. As the Community Security Director and in response to the Champlain South Tower collapse, I acted as a conduit and a liaison both to our local law enforcement and fire, as well as within our community. I networked with JCRC, I networked with JCS, I networked with our rabbis to ensure that the spiritual concerns of our victims were respected and to help align resources where they were needed. It's difficult to be honored after such a tragic event, especially personally knowing those that were affected. But I can say I am humbled and I am extremely grateful to work for such an amazing community that has come together and has rallied together in such a time.
Ephraim Stefanski, Zushi Litkowski, and Svea Benson, the dynamic trio. When the Surfside community needed them, Ephraim, Zushi, and Svea, three local young professionals, responded immediately to address the financial needs of survivors and family members who lost loved ones. When the Champlain Tower South building collapsed, these three incredibly caring, community-minded residents began online fundraising in partnership with Hatzalah South Florida and the Shul, raising over $1 million to assist JCS clients impacted by the tragedy. You are an inspiration. The three of you embody the best in our country and our community in providing tzedakah, righteous support for those that are in need of healing and sustenance within our South Florida community. Thank you again for your impactful work.
Hi, my name is Zushi Litkowski. I'm from EZS Events.
Hi, my name is Ephraim Stefanski. I'm also part of EZS Events.
We raised $1.5 million in a matter of a week for the Champlain Tower collapse.
I would like to thank JCS for honoring us with this award and also thank our partners, the Shul of Bal Harbour, Hatzalah of South Florida, the Global Empowerment Mission, the Greater Miami Jewish Federation, and JCS for helping us to put this incredible fundraising campaign together. We would also like to thank all donors who donated generously to this fundraising campaign. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, community champions, for your incredible contributions and caring hearts. We are so grateful. And now, back to JCS board member and our 211 Day event chair, Ms. Yolanda Valencia.
Wow, what an extraordinary group of individuals. Thank you, Miriam, for your inspiring words. And thank you, JCS community champions. Your contributions to the community are immeasurable, and we are humbled to honor you today. Now that we have paid tribute to our community champions, we would like to share a video highlighting the work of these individuals and our 211 Miami staff.
There are so many reasons why our JCS 211 Miami team is so very special. Among them are the compassion and care with which they serve our clients that call in and day out with crisis calls. Individuals that are hurting, individuals that are grieving, individuals that are going through emotional disruption in their lives. And our 211 call center staff is always there for them with great skill, great care, offering support, sustenance, and resources.
Tonight, more than 100,000 people are in U.S. hospitals being treated for COVID. Here in Florida, it is 17,000 patients that are being treated in the state.
A Delta-driven surge putting the Jackson Health System on high alert, suspending visitation for most inpatient units as of Wednesday.
COVID leading to another long line of cars outside the Hard Rock Stadium testing site today. The increased demand coming as doctors issued this dire warning.
Miami is now the epicenter of the pandemic.
As we know, a fear of the unknown is a real fear. So as a leader, what I do is to calm the team so that we are not unfearful. If we have the fear, we won't be able to provide the care that our patients, our community needs. So as a leader on the unit with my team, we were able to calm the team, calm the patients since they won't have a family and coming to visit. And since we don't even know what a COVID entails, we learn on the job. And as we learn on the job, we grow on the job, and we are able to provide and the best world-class care to the patient.
I joined JCS as a member of the staff in January of 2020. After 2 months, we were faced with a first disaster that was unprecedented, the pandemic, COVID-19, many unanswered questions, a great deal of information that the public was seeking in order to ensure the health and well-being of their families, their co-workers, and their friends. JCS was there to respond every step of the way with information, resources, vaccination appointments, access to everyone in the community that sought help.
You know, everything in our world changed as a result of the pandemic, and the helpline counselors were our frontline staff working to provide individuals in our community with the resources that they needed when they didn't know where else to turn for help. Many places closed down. There was limited access to resources, and our counselors were, the first point of contact for so many in our community about where to go.
During COVID, we saw a big increase very early on of families who were scared, and they didn't know if they were going to be working, and they didn't know if, where their next kosher meal was coming from. So we had a lot of families sign up for the food bank, and we provided food for the whole community. Our trucks would stop at 8 different synagogues, and they would allow people to get in their cars in line and get food put in their trunks.
We've been very fortunate in terms of having such a dedicated team that has been there despite the pandemic, despite everything coming down around us. We've been able to maintain our service 24/7 throughout the pandemic.
911, what's your emergency?
A very large building collapse. Like the building next to us is gone.
The images of the Surfside building collapse are heartbreaking and horrifying to anyone who sees them. And for the families involved, it's another level of anguish. That's where Jewish Community Services of South Florida comes in.
When we heard of the Champlain Towers collapsing, we knew that we needed to be here available for our communities. Our staff has been there 24/7 to field any of those calls that might come in.
I started working at the shul about a month before the Champlain Towers collapsed. I wanted to be in an environment where my talents and my experience would serve. I had no idea what I was asking for when I was praying to God to please give me a job with meaning and purpose, because a month later, I was no longer doing special events and projects. We were the forefront, we were the hub of all support.
So historically, Miami-Dade Fire Rescue, which is one of 28 federal urban search and rescue teams, we're capable of achieving many all-hazard components. We did encounter numerous teams from the state and nationally, and of course internationally that did join this incident. But the greatest part about it was we had close to 1,000 first responders there, all of them on the same sheet of paper with the same exact incidents and tactics and objectives that needed to be met. And considering that a 12-story building did collapse, that again within a month we were able to, again, some form or fashion, bring some form of closure to many of the family members that had asked us to.
We just felt the need to help those in need. And I think that's also part of Judaism. It's part of what our family taught us, giving back, doing chesed for the people, not just for the Jewish people, also just for everyone. But then about 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, we were on a call with the Shul of Bal Harbour and Hatzalah of South Florida to officiate our fundraising campaign.
The American Red Cross is blessed with amazing community partnerships, including, of course, Jewish Community Services. And a tragedy like this brings the community together in ways that you never want to find out, but make your heart feel warm that people care so much. And immediately, the Red Cross, I was speaking with people from JCS, from United Way, from Miami Foundation, from Greater Miami Jewish Federation, and other agencies all over the county who stepped up to make sure that the survivors and the families were all very well taken care of.
As with any crisis, any event, there's not one person that could do everything. That's what impresses me the most, is how well and how cohesive this community is and how quickly they rally and come together. Until now, I didn't realize how far-reaching JCS is within our community and the things that they offer and the things that they bring to this community. And I'm so impressed, and I'm just absolutely honored to be able to work with such a great organization.
I think the takeaway that folks can learn about 211 is that it can happen to any one of us where we'll need these services. Sometimes we think, oh, this is for other people, and your neighbors or even some relatives you may not be aware of are hurting. And so listen to them, and when you think there's nothing you can do, just call us, 211, and we'll help you navigate that. Just incredible work from our 211 Miami team and JCS community champions. They truly exemplify what it means to be caring and compassionate. As we move to the next portion of our 211 Day celebration, it is my pleasure to bring back Miriam Singer and introduce Richard Schutz, Director of 211 Miami.
JCS's 211 Miami, a program of Jewish Community Services of South Florida, is a confidential helpline that connects people in need to community resources that are available in Miami-Dade and Monroe County. Our JCS 211 Miami has an extensive database of over 4,000 programs and resources for social service assistance, addressing food insecurity, legal help, shelters, and financial assistance programs. We also provide emotional support and crisis counseling to clients in distress that are available 24/7, 365 days a year in English, Spanish, and Creole, and most all other languages. 211 Miami is an integral part of the Crisis Center network that assists with calls for the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline and is the #1 crisis center in the nation answering Spanish Lifeline calls. It is now my distinct pleasure to welcome our Director of JCS 211 Miami, Richard Schutz. Richard and the entire 211 Miami team continue to be instrumental in providing a strong, reliable, and safe place for all residents of Miami-Dade and Monroe County to receive care, support, and resources.
During the height of the pandemic, 211 Miami was seeing up to 150% increase in calls with regard to mental health, financial, and food support needs. This was shocking and heartbreaking to see our community suffering with such great need. Our team addressed a multitude of concerns from individuals and families and implemented a chat feature for those who were quarantining at home and unable to pick up the phone to call for help. As a result, our chat line has routed over 1,000 chats per month from individuals in crisis seeking help and supportive services to our Center for Crisis Counseling. I could not be prouder of the team who shows up each day to serve. Their knowledge, caring, and compassion supports the most vulnerable individuals that depend on us as a lifeline. Now, we would like to recognize our 211 Miami staff for their impactful and incredible accomplishments. Andre Andrade, Daniela Artiles, Catherine Clements, Wendy Diaz, Ada Esteves, Anna Garcia, Giancarlo Garcia, Veronica Garcia, Tiffany Hernandez, Catherine Hernandez Franco, Ketlin Israel, Nike Christie Jean, Roberta Jean, Robson Jean, Trudy Krasovic, Milka Lewis, Adrian Marin, Crystal McCoy, Valeria Monsalve, Coralie Patterson, Michael Perez, Megan Pryor, Dariani Ramos, Melody Rivera, Jamie Sagona, Adriel Santiago, myself, Richard Schutz, Brian Sierra, Terrian Smith, Marie Carol Thies, Matthew Walton.
Thank you, my amazing JCS 211 Miami team. And now back to our MC, Miss Yolanda Valencia.
Thank you all for attending 211 Day. We hope to see you in person next year. For more information and resources, please visit 211miami.org.